Learn all about living in Melaque, Mexico from Jeanne McGee in this video interview with expats in Mexico. So why did you decide to move to Mexico? What was the interest that you had in Mexico?
Well, my first times of coming to Mexico were back in the late 70s and very early 80s, like probably 78 to 81. And I had a boyfriend, and we would travel down to Mexico. And we came as far as Bar de Navidad and Melaque, and it was where it was warm enough, right? Like it was just too cold in Mazatlan, too cold in Puerto Vallarta. Kept on going, came here and said, oh, this is perfect. And then 10 years later, I come back and realize just how much I miss this place. And then it felt like I was coming home. And so my husband and I said, well, what do you think? Should we buy a little place here? And then we started looking and decided to buy a lot and build. And it's always been that feeling, like when I leave here, I have always cried. Just emotionally, it hurts a lot to leave. And when I come back, I feel like I'm home. So I knew this was my place.
Well, other than the weather, what other things drew you to Melaque?
It's the people. There is such a nice community of gringos mixed in with Mexicans so that you can have connection with Mexicans. It's not just Gringoville, right? So like, as much as I like going up to Ajijic and Lake Chapala area, and I know it's a year-round nice weather, it's just so much just about gringos there. And so this just felt more like you could have that nice mix. And I can study my Spanish, which still, I tell you, after the 15 years I've been here, is not so good. It just drives me crazy that when you leave and you don't use it, you lose it. And then you come back and you rapidly get back to where you were, but I don't seem to ever get any better. I think there's something in my brain that I'm just not a natural.
Help us with the location of Melaque. Where is it located?
We are almost, let's see, if anybody knows where Manzanillo is, the biggest port on the west side of Malacca, or on Mexico, we are about a half an hour north of there, or a 3-hour drive south of Puerto Vallarta.
And how large is the community?
I always mean to look at how many people are here. I'm gonna guess around 8,000. And then of course when the gringos come in, we probably add 4,000, 5,000 at the peak. If I'm including Bar de Navidad, in this bay, there's Melaque and its other 2 towns, and then Bar de Navidad, which is just 2 kilometers away.
You said you started building your home back in the 90s when you discovered that you wanted someplace warm, particularly during the winter.
Right.
How did you do that over a period of time? When was the house actually finished? How long did it take you to build your home?
Took about 7 years. So we started building in 2000 and finished around 2007. And really, there's more to be done here in this house. We got divorced, and so we just didn't finish a couple little things, like the barbecue area is not done. It's
Sure.
so minor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Describe your house. How large of a house is it? How many bedrooms, bathrooms? Where it's located?
So we are 2 blocks from the beach, and it's a top and bottom floors. On the top floor, there are 2 units that share a kitchen, and one unit has a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, big, huge living room. The other the other section has a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, and my art room / living room space, because I have to always have my art room space. And then it has an outdoor dining area. And so it has a huge kitchen, big enough for both of us to share. So my ex-husband and I still share the unit, and he has one of the upstairs and I have one of the upstairs. And we really could, it's big enough to make 2 kitchens. But the place is for sale, and I'm looking forward to when this sells to actually buying again and building. And so I've been looking, trying to figure out where I'm going to go to start my business. And this works still great because I have my art shows here, and you know, it's not a bad location, but I think I'd like to be closer into town. And so I've been running my art shows for about 7 years here, and they're well known.
And then you'll be showcasing all of your photography there.
Yes, not only photography, but I'd like to showcase a lot of Mexican artists. So this year I went up to the Ajijic area, and they had a kind of an art show going on that was to showcase Mexican artists from around Mexico. It was juried, and they were supposed to bring in their work and sell it at wholesale prices, and were not charged any fee to come in, so they could keep their prices low. But I didn't consider that is what 90% of them had them at retail prices, very, very high prices. And I only found a couple that actually did what the founders of this show actually asked for, and that was keep it at lower rates so that people with galleries who wanted to get their work and bring it to their gallery could afford to buy it. And so I ended up buying a few pieces and trying it out this year at my first art show, and sold some, just getting a feel for what types of things, if the types of things that I am drawn to, if other people are drawn to it. So that was kind of a nice first run.
And when you said you had your art show, where did you display the art?
Oh, right down here. I have a huge patio area. It's big enough to build my art gallery if I wanted to do that, if I could buy my husband out. But my ex-husband does not really want to sell me the place. You know how it is. So that's okay. I'll move on. I'll find the right place. And I really, like I said, I wouldn't mind being a little more centrally located here. Villa Obregón is at the end of Melaque at one end, and then San Patricio's in the middle. And I think I'd prefer to be in San Patricio in the middle, so I could attract people from both ends of town.
What are the costs of living down there? What if you were going to look at buying a home? What kind of home would you buy, and how much would you be paying for it?
I believe, depending on what somebody wants, you could buy a very nice little place here for, say, $200,000 to $300,000. If you go other places, you could spend less. Like in Barra de Navidad, they have a nice gringo area, more gringo than anything, and you can pick up a house there for under $200,000.
And what size home are we talking about for $200,000?
Probably about a 2-bedroom, 2-bath with a nice yard. Probably not a pool.
And
you know,
size-wise, maybe 1,500 square feet or so, or?
Yes, somewhere in that vicinity.
Okay.
Yes. And with my house here, this has got really 3-bedroom, 2-bath upstairs would be what they would actually call this. And then I have a rental unit downstairs with a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, which is about 1,200 square feet. So this really has 2 complete homes, a beautiful pool and a beautiful garden area, and a 2-car garage.
And how much did you pay for it?
You know,
you built it yourself, so it's a little different.
And back then, I think if you were trying to build it now, it would probably cost you about what we're trying to sell it for, and that's $300,000. I keep hearing from people how when they build, everything is much, much more than what you expect. So even the building permits are quite expensive now. And you know, when we started back then, a building permit was $30. Now it sounds like you're paying several thousand.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, it's still pretty reasonable in terms of housing costs down there, considering that you're 2 blocks off the ocean.
Not only that, but your water bills are minimal. Your internet bill is cheap.
How much do you pay for internet?
Internet is about $35 a month, and that includes a home phone.
And what about some of your other costs, water, electricity?
The electricity runs, let me kind of think about this. Probably the home runs about $60 a month. I have no air conditioning. I only have ceiling fans.
How far are you from the mountains? What the Sierra Madres are?
It takes me about 5 hours to get up to Guadalajara.
Oh, so you'd go that far? Okay.
Oh yes, oh yes. You can get up to the mountains faster. Like 30 minutes, I can get up to La Huerta, which is a little Mexican village. But to really go see things, I'm going to have to travel 5 to 10 hours in any direction to get someplace, or fly up to Mexico City and then fly someplace from there. Like going to Oaxaca is pretty much a day's journey. If you fly to Mexico City, and if you take the bus, it's about 6 hours, or you can fly and get there in an hour and a half, 2 hours. I remember I've done that a couple times. But I haven't been down to the Yucatan yet. There's just so much to see that I'm thinking my summer months will be traveling Mexico a little bit and taking pictures and seeing things.
What do you do for shopping there?
What kind of shopping do you want? There's lots of great things here.
Like, what do you buy where?
Okay, so in Melaque, it seems to be the center where most people come to go do grocery shopping, say from little villages north of here like La Manzanilla. Melaque has everything a gringo could want. They supply gringo food during the gringo months, so we can get practically anything we want here. It's wonderful.
Do you have supermarkets like Soriana and Maga and so forth?
To get those, you have to go to Manzanillo itself, and that's about 40 minutes south. So here we have just little stores, but they have great produce. They have, just everything you could want, actually. We can get lamb and good beef and pork and chicken, all that type of thing. Great fresh fish markets. And then even, like if I really have a desire for, let's see, what are some of the gringo things that we like? All sorts of organics. We'll be like at a little supermarket called Hawaii or Chelly's. They both seem to carry a lot of gringo type products. Now come summer months, once they sell out, they don't get them back in until the following like November. So if there's something you really want, you get 2 or 3 or 4 of them when it comes in. You're going to say, well, I might not be able to find black olives again later, so I'm going to buy 5 cans, things like that, something that you love.
How much do you typically spend on groceries a week?
Say about $30, $35, $40, somewhere in there.
Just for yourself?
Yes. Well, I invite people over quite a bit, so I'm probably going to have guests a couple times for that.
Are you pretty active in the local expat community?
Fairly, not a lot. I'm mostly active just in the art section of the expat community.
And there are quite a few artists there?
There are. It's amazing. That's what's so wonderful is when I do these art shows, I actually ask artists to jury and send me their work. They can't just show up, and then I can only fit about 12, 13, 14 people in my courtyard, which is quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And we were full house this last year, and it was just Monday that we had the show, and I like to invite Mexican artists. What I find is difficult with the Mexican artists is they say they'll come and then they don't show up. And so out of the 4 I invited, only 2 made it. And I'm sorry that the other 2 didn't make it. I think they would have had a good show, would have, got their work out there, but they're not used to this type of thing. And I just figure as other Mexicans, as this works, and they'll tell others, right? And maybe eventually I'll be able to do a show with 50-50. That's my goal.
Well, the state of Jalisco is well known for its artistic bent. There's a lot of great folk art that comes out of Jalisco.
There is.
Are there other galleries in the Melaque area?
No, there is not. And there's only one gallery in Barra, and there's one gallery in La Manzanilla.
So the other artists that live in the area market their artwork in other cities?
I think a lot of the full-time artists show at the Manzanilla Gallery, or they'll come down now and they're starting to do shows here at the Barra Gallery. So Robert is opening up his gallery to other things other than just photographers, because he's a photographer. And at first he called himself a photography gallery, and now he's saying that he is a Gallery de Arte. So I have a show going there right now that was well received. He said he hadn't ever had a full house quite like that. It was completely packed. We sold out the dinner because he has a restaurant there too. It was totally sold out, and I sold. So it was great for all of us. That was really wonderful.
Are there good restaurants there?
We have some wonderful restaurants here. I mean, really, this is a wonderful community. In our area alone, I can think of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that are very close by that are all really good. And then if you go 2 blocks further, you'll get another 1, 2, 3, 4 more. That's not even going into Melaque proper. And that's not counting taco stands. We have lots of great taco stands.
And how much, if a couple wanted to go out for dinner, like on a Saturday night, how much would it cost them?
You're going to spend about 150 to 200 pesos a meal. And that's going to be like, say, coconut shrimp or filet mignon.
So that's about $10 a piece.
Right. And then your drinks, which are around 65 pesos for an alcoholic drink.
So a little over like $3.50 or so.
Yes.
Nice. And you have the warm tropical breezes blowing.
And usually live music too.
Fantastic. I'm coming.
Oh man, I tell you, that's what happens. People come here and they end up staying. I'm going to warn you.
Jeanne, tell me, what are the 3 things you love about living in Melaque?
Oh goodness. I love living by the beach. It was a dream since I was a little kid that I would live at the beach. And so I fulfilled that by living here. I would say the friends I have here and the friends I meet, both Mexican and gringo. Gringos, mostly here are Canadians, but you meet people from all over. And I love bringing in the artists and having this culture, starting this culture here. And I'm really, really excited to be involved with the art center, the new art center that we're building. This is difficult to get this going. We had this benefactor who she gave us the land to use and actually gave the first 100,000 to build. And it's a mystery how we're going to get this accomplished even now, because we have 2 more floors to go. And of course, it's a struggle just to get that first floor going. But it's going to be such a wonderful asset to the community, because we're going to teach classes both in English and in Spanish. So bringing in expats to teach, plus bringing in Mexican artists to teach. And we want to see, our goal is to see Mexicans and gringos interacting and coming together through the arts, and sharing our culture and things that way. So we'll have a movie theater and a lecture section. It's very small, very intimate. It has a cafe and a gallery and a teaching space on the ground floor. And then we have 2 more floors that we're going to be building, hopefully. In the next
sounds
year.
marvelous.
We're excited. We're excited. We hope to be open by the end of January.
What's the 3rd thing that you love about living there?
3rd thing, okay. Well, I'm sure it's the weather. I really do like the heat. I like being warm. I do not like being cold.
You're a recent arrival as an expat in Mexico. What recommendations would you give to someone who's planning to move to Mexico or considering a move to Mexico?
I would say that they should come down and live here for a while and see if it's really something they would like to do, because it's just not for everybody. And think about what it is that you want to have as your activities. You know, what is it that you're looking for? Because Melaque might not be the place for you. It might be more someplace like Ajijic or Chapala. Maybe you would really prefer much more culture. The art center is going to really help. We are now going to have movies and hopefully a little theater and lots of art classes, but there's really not a lot of culture here. When you go to someplace like Lake Chapala and Ajijic, there's lots of theater going on, lots of acting possibilities, movies right there, bicycle paths, all kinds of things to do. So being clear on what it is that you want. Do you want to interact with your Mexican neighbors and take classes, Spanish and that type of thing? Then someplace like Melaque would be more your style.
Jeanne, thank you so much for your time this morning. It sounds like you're loving Melaque.
I love it here. And like I say, when I leave, I cry. I just don't like to leave.